Welcome back to Studio B live on BYU Sports Nation. I'm Jeremy Jordan alongside Spencer Linton. Well, certainly this week, Barry Trammell of the Oklahoman talking about Colorado to the Big 12. Deion Sanders there, the Utah-Colorado rivalry, the transfer portal with Colorado. The Buffaloes have been in the news quite a bit, so we wanted to catch up with all things Colorado relative to the Big 12 and otherwise with our guy Brian Howell of Buffzone.com. All right, Brian, Barry Trammell of the Oklahomans certainly stirring it up, mentioning that Colorado could join the Big 12 soon. I don't know what soon means. What are you hearing, and what do you think of all this?
Well, I don't know what soon means in his timeline either, but I'm not hearing that anything is imminent at Colorado. That I don't think that that's on their radar right now for something that they're going to be doing like this summer or anything like that. I mean, I still think the preference for Colorado is to stay in the Pac-12 if they can. But I think they might be preparing for contingencies and things like that in case other dominoes fall. But I don't think they're ready to make that leap yet.
And that's what we're all kind of waiting for, and it feels like it hinges on the Pac-12 TV contract, which hasn't been finalized or announced. There's lots of rumors around it. What are you thinking of what's going on in the Pac-12, and what could happen based on what does or doesn't happen with that deal?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is obviously dependent on that deal. I think schools want to find out what are we actually valued at before we make this decision whether to leave or not. It has taken longer than most people expected. I thought the deal would be done by now. I'm a little surprised we're going into summer of 2023 without a deal, but I think that's a big thing as far as keeping these schools together. And depending on how that turns out, then we might see some dominoes fall if the money is not there. But I mean, there's a lot of things financially with the Pac-12 that have come out recently as far as some overpayments by Comcast in the last 10 years that now all the schools have to absorb over the next couple of years. So there's a lot of things they got to try to make up with money wise, and they need a good contract here with the TV deals in order to kind of keep these teams together.
Given the issues that you just mentioned and the lack of a TV deal quite yet, which they don't technically need one for another year, but it's sort of just this glue that could keep it all together. What are you thinking about kind of Colorado in the Pac-12? Because it feels like there's certainly a few reasons to perhaps want to go to the Big 12, which was the old stomping grounds.
Yeah, and to me, in talking to Colorado people, I think the only reason to want to go to the Big 12 would be if that's the best landing spot financially. I think everything else, they would rather be in the Pac-12. I mean, their alumni footprint is way bigger in the Pac-12 than it is in the Big 12. I think the fans would much rather go to Pac-12 cities than Big 12 cities and things like that. So I think they would much rather be in the Pac-12. But I think they're going to go wherever the best financial landing spot is for Colorado.
With that TV deal, do you feel like it's got to be done in the next couple of months, or there may be some movement of teams wanting to leave? Because it feels like if there's two teams that leave, that perhaps that's the domino that sort of makes things crumble. But you could always add a San Diego State and SMU, as we saw the dating the last couple months a little bit with Kliavkov at both those places. What would it take for this to ultimately crumble? Because so far it's held together, but it feels like it's being held together with Scotch tape.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I think the deal's probably got to be done this summer. And if it doesn't, then I think you start to worry if you're the Pac-12, if you're those schools. And I think, all it takes is one or two schools, and probably not one, but two coming together and deciding to leave together. And I think that if that happens, then all of a sudden the Pac-12 is really in trouble, and you start looking at this thing crumbling. And I think if you don't have that TV deal, maybe by August, then I think it's going to be really tough to, look at the long term of the Pac-12 and say, yeah, it's healthy.
We're talking to Brian Howell of Buffzone.com on BYU Sports Nation. How has it been with Colorado in the Pac-12? Certainly it's been, 11 or 12 years now. And certainly you mentioned the alumni base and sort of we've been to the Big 12, we like the Pac-12. What is sort of the vibe of what Colorado wants at this point with its future?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the football product has not been very good, but it wouldn't have been in any conference because they've made other mistakes football wise. But as far as being in the Pac-12, I think it's been very well received for Colorado in that, financially I know there's some issues with the Pac-12, but being in the Pac-12 has allowed them to probably increase their donor revenue. They've got a new Champion Center. It's not new anymore. It's probably 5 or 6 years old, but that they were able to get because they're in the Pac-12 and reach out to some of those alumni out west. And so I think they've liked being in the Pac-12 overall. But at some point you got to look at the future and say, where's the best place for us financially in the future? And if that's the Big 12, then I see them making the jump. But if it's the Pac-12, I think they're going to stay put.
Is it a straight numbers game? Because certainly the exposure of being on the likes of ESPN and Fox with a little less money probably has a certain amount of value. So what is it about? Because, there have been, rumors of, the CW involved. It's like, whoa, what? If the money is equal with the Big 12, but it's not ESPN Fox, is that still a good situation?
I think so because of so many other things. In the Pac-12, a lot of it that doesn't get talked about because it's not interesting is the academic side of it. And these schools align very well academically. Colorado fits better academically with a lot of the schools in the Pac-12. And what I mean by fit is they do a lot of research, collaboration and things like that. And so I think if the money is equal, I think the presidents are going to want to stay in the Pac-12 because it aligns better for a lot of reasons.
What is the value of the academic research institution is the question as well. Which is a phrase that Utah fans use against BYU quite a bit, which brings me to this. Utah and Colorado felt like a forced rivalry when the two entered the Pac-12. How's that been? Because BYU fans kind of look at it like, really?
No, it's still a forced rivalry, and I don't even know if it's proper to use the word rivalry because there's just not a whole lot there. I mean, it's yes, it's forced in that on rivalry weekend at the end of the year, that's who the Pac-12 puts CU against, but there's not a lot there. I mean, early on in the Pac-12 days, every one of those games was close and they kind of meant something. When CU clinched the South Division in 2016, they did it by beating Utah. There's a couple times that both teams were going for bowl games or whatever. There was one year they were both 5-6 going into it. The winner would go to a bowl, the loser would not. And so there were some things at stake, but they don't hate each other. And that's kind of the key to a rivalry. And for Colorado, their biggest rival is still Nebraska, which they've only played a few times in the last decade or so. So I mean, that's the team that CU fans still hate.
Yeah, if you just flash back like 13 years, it's like, what? Nebraska's in the Big Ten and Colorado's in the Pac-12? Like, everything has changed. And certainly change coming in the form of Deion Sanders. What's that been like so far? And certainly the transfer portal has been busy there in Colorado.
Yeah, well, it's been a circus. When you've got a celebrity head coach, it's going to be very different, especially coming from Karl Dorrell, who I like personally, but was a very quiet personality. Deion Sanders is not a quiet personality. Probably the most confident man I've ever met in my life. And that rubs off on the team. You see it on social media and in all the videos they post. So I mean, it was a media circus all throughout spring, and then the transfer portal. They've kept us busy since spring ball. I haven't had a whole lot of reason to go to Boulder because there's not a lot of access to the team, but they've kept us plenty busy with all the movement in the transfer portal. I mean, it's 40 some players out and almost 40 in since the spring game a month ago. So it's been very busy and kind of wild to watch.
Well, it has been wild, and BYU coaches have been watching it in the transfer portal with a couple of Colorado players as well. Brian, what's the latest on what people can read from you if they're interested in learning about the Colorado Buffaloes?
Yeah, go to buffzone.com, and I mean we're covering everything. There's a lot of transfer portal news, every week. It's kind of slowing down, but a lot of features on some of those new guys coming to Colorado, and trying to make sense of what a depth chart looks like. I don't even know what that's going to look like at this point. And so, but trying to piece that together as all these pieces come together this summer.
Yeah, it's roster, then it's depth chart. So I'm sure you'll be busy all summer with that. Brian, we appreciate the time. Thank you for the insight.
You bet. Thanks.